In the annals of military history, there are few figures as remarkable as George Bud Day, a man whose valor and determination echoed through three of the most significant conflicts of the 20th century, including World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Born on February 24, 1925, in Sioux City, Iowa, Day's journey to becoming one of America's most decorated war heroes began with his enlistment in the United States Marine Corps during World War II. During World War II, Day served in the Marine Corps on a gun battery stationed on Johnson Island for roughly 2 years, and after the war, after seeing no combat, he would attain his law degree and Day would transition to the United States Air Force, where he continued to serve with distinction. However, it was during the Korean War that Day's courage would truly shine. As a fighter pilot, flying the F-84 Thunderjet, Day flew numerous combat missions over North Korea, engaging enemy aircraft and ground targets with precision and skill. His daring maneuvers and fearless leadership in the face of overwhelming odds earned him the admiration of his fellow airmen and the respect of his superiors. But it was in the crucible during the Vietnam War that Bud Day's legacy would be forever cemented in the halls of history. Major Day became commander of Detachment 1, 416th Tactical Fighter Squadron, Commando Sabre, also known as Misty, which was Day's favorite song at the time. In 1967, Day was serving as a Misty forward air controller, flying low-altitude missions over North Vietnam to locate and mark targets for strike aircraft. On August 26th of that year, Day's F-100 Super Sabre was shot down over enemy territory. Despite suffering severe injuries during the ejection, including a shattered arm in 3 places, a severely sprained knee, and a lacerated eye, Day managed to parachute safely to the ground. However, his ordeal was only just starting. Once on the ground, Day was immediately captured by the NVA local militia and would be beaten and hung from a cave for 5 whole days. They finally allowed him some breathing room when they loosened his bounds, not thinking he could fight back any longer, but they were wrong. Without shoes or his flight suit, Day took off into the darkness in hopes to make it back to friendly lines. For the next several days, Bud Day eluded capture, relying on his survival training and sheer determination to evade the North Vietnamese forces who were scouring the jungle for him. Despite being wounded and outnumbered, Day refused to surrender, scouring the jungle for anything to eat, and on one said occasion, he would eat 2 whole frogs alive to sustain his ability to push on. While on his one-man journey surviving in the jungle, he would be rocked by an explosion that would shatter his sinuses, shatter his eardrums. It would also pepper him with shrapnel in his legs. So he stayed put for 2 whole days under a bush so he could muster the strength to move forward once more. Day made it past the DMZ. It was in sight of the U.S. base, but didn't want to approach at night in fear of being shot and in fear of being seen as the enemy. So he would wait to approach until morning. Unfortunately, after evading capture for over 2 weeks, Day was apprehended by the North Vietnamese forces and taken as a prisoner of war, but not before sustaining a gunshot wound to the left hand and to the thigh. What followed was 5.5 years of unimaginable hardship and suffering. Despite enduring brutal torture and solitary confinement, Day never wavered in his commitment to his country and his fellow POWs. His defiance in the face of adversity became a symbol of American resilience and perseverance. Day refused to cooperate and would not give them any information that would jeopardize any active pilots still in the war. Even while being so debilitated from his own wounds, he still was defiant. On one said act of defiance, Colonel Day and other prisoners sang the national anthem from start to finish. Even while they had AK-47s pointed in their faces, they sang on. After the 5 long and agonizing years being a POW, George Bud Day would finally be released on March 14th, 1973, during Operation Homecoming, where he would be received by his wife and their 4 children. After the war, Bud Day's heroism was recognized with the awarding of the nation's highest honor, the Medal of Honor, from President Gerald Ford, making him one of only a handful of individuals to receive the nation's highest military honor for actions of being the beacon of hope for Americans in Hanoi who were prisoners of war. George Bud Day's legacy serves as a reminder of the courage and sacrifice of those who serve in defense of freedom. His extraordinary courage and unwavering determination continue to inspire generations of Americans to this day. Thank you so much for listening and watching to the short story about George Bud Day. Please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to support my Patreon, it will be linked down below. It is also Liam in History. Along with that, all of my sources I used to make today's video will be linked down below. Anyways, everybody, I hope we have a great day, and I will see you next time.